everybody. I'm your host, Adam Steele, and this is the Hot Pole Podcast, where we talk about guitar news and music tech news, and waving like a madman is Mr. Liam Wright. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm trying to hide from my camera, but I can't. Look.
It's gonna find you.
No hands.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm all right. Busy as ever. Just had some food from Bird Box. Have you heard about this controversy around Bird Box and the other companies related to it?
No? I mean, is it mostly seed and mealworms?
Yeah, pretty much. No, there's it's really clever. So companies like was it not Ben and Jerry's? What's the restaurant that's in Ashton?
Oh, Frankie and Benny's?
Frankie and Benny's. Restaurants like Frankie and Benny's have started doing takeaway only other brands inside the same kitchen. So Bird Box, and I think there's also Wok Box, and there's a few others, are brands that don't actually exist other than on Uber Eats.
Ah.
They have a whole different menu to Frankie and Benny's, and you can only get it through Uber Eats. So when you look at it, it says, "Oh, where is it?" It's like, "Oh, it's at Ashton Moss." So, oh, that must be a legit restaurant because only good restaurants are there. It's actually just a kitchen.
Well,
it's really good.
Yeah, it's clever as well, because, I mean, if you've got a load of kitchen staff in a big kitchen, they're all stood around waiting because nobody's coming in.
So they created the concept during this last year when everyone's been at home and stuff. That was actually really smart. Some people were getting annoyed about them as virtual brands, but I'm like, I think that's really clever. So something that I bet you didn't know. There you go.
I did not know. Mage says he's not received a YouTube notification about us going live. Well, in that case, everybody, tell your friends. Tell everybody.
Tell your friends.
Tell people whilst I drink my drink. Cheers.
Well, one of the things we can say that I've been working on is I'm in the process of building our new website. And it's quite likely that we may be able to build our own app into it as well. So if we are able to do that, then you will never have to worry about getting notifications again from YouTube because you're able to get them through the Hot Pole app. Coming soon, TM.
Yeah.
So it'll be out this year, Valve time.
Just wait for the inevitable million rejections from the Apple Store.
Oh no, man, it won't be a problem at all. I've the Warrior Collective app's live on the App Store.
Cool.
First time.
Oh, that's all right, then.
Now I'm an App Store pro now.
You mean we're not trying to get people to buy our own in-game currency through our app? Because that's the whole controversy, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing. We're selling digital courses through the app, and so far Apple haven't asked for a penny. So they'll come for us eventually, I'm sure.
Random Gaming says, thoughts on Windows 11. That was our headline topic last week. So I don't think we're going to talk about it much this week, because we kind of exhausted that. But if you want to go and watch last week's podcast after this stream, it is available.
Do it now. Like, just keep this open in another window so you can chat to us and watch last week. It's a very slow news week. We're going to be so this is going to be all filler, no killer this week.
Yeah. Oh man, been busy this week.
We love you all the same.
I've edited 3 videos last night and started the 4th one. Finished.
How far away are we from the new studio tour video?
That's the one that's not even finished. That got started last night, but that's actually quite a tricky edit. So that's going to take me a bit of thinking, just because the way I want to cut footage in, that's going to take me a few hours. So that's probably tomorrow. But in the
Maybe do a bit of picture-in-picture to make it easier, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Kind of cool.
I'll have a look. That could work.
We got it as one continuous shot, didn't we?
Yeah, well, it would be B-roll over the tour, depending on... But then sometimes we didn't hang too long on certain things, and sometimes I talked a bit too long on a thing.
It was 16 minutes, which I don't think is a terrible length.
Oh, no, I filmed the Studio B section as well. It's a half an hour thing now.
Yeah, when you were left to your own devices in your little den.
Absolutely. I talked for England. Yes, I did. But I can edit that down too. So hopefully between it all, we'll be fine.
Oh, apparently it's been released today. That's why they're mentioning it.
What? No.
Yep, 3 hours ago. Upgrade to Windows 11. Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. So Microsoft,
Whoa,
we'll just type in Windows 11 into Google and pull it up. Let's do this. Come on. Live breaking news.
I'm going to throw
3
that
hours
in
ago.
Because, last week it was our entire focus, but...
The Microsoft website was updated 3 hours ago.
I'm going to switch to the browser window, because... Wow.
Let's do it. Let's boom.
Windows 11 introducing, and you can actually download it now, I believe. Yeah. Wow. No. Windows 11 isn't here yet, but will be coming later this year.
Oh, boo.
So it's just a page. So it's not there yet. It's just a page.
Boo.
They unveiled it. They announced it. It did not get released today. Sorry, you've been misled. It was not released today.
Fake news.
Yeah. Okay.
But who was it who said it? Someone Gaming. Random Gaming, does it say?
Yes.
Fake news, Random Gaming.
Tisk tisk. Anyway, I have a drink, so it's fine.
I'm not upset, just disappointed.
I'm upset. I'm not upset.
So, minimum system requirements, a 1 gigahertz processor.
Okay, so that's
RAM.
most computers.
4 gig of RAM.
Yep, also most
64
computers.
gig of storage.
Yeah.
A display with at least 720p resolution.
Okay, that sounds like a Windows 10 requirement as well.
DirectX 12 compatible cards.
Yep, that's all of them post 2010.
Microsoft account activity. No, nothing really interesting.
No, it's Windows 10 with some funky updates.
On the official Windows website, it says, how much will it cost? And the answer is, it depends! Exclamation mark.
It depends. How much money do you want to give us? Get a dodgy CD key from some website, it'll cost you a tenner.
What's the difference between Windows 10 and Windows 11? Windows 11 has all the power and security of Windows 10 with a redesigned and refreshed look. So basically, it's Windows 10, we just changed a bit of the UI.
Yeah, there might be some stuff under the hood as well, but it's going to be under the hood stuff.
They've launched a whole... Have they launched a whole new suite of laptops? No, that's a Dell. That's a HP. No, I thought these were more Surface things.
We'll have to wait to scratch the surface.
Well, should we crack on to the really, really amazing news of the week? Our lead story.
Go on. Oh, the news.
Yeah.
The news. You can now have a knitted keyboard.
Coziest of MIDI.
I have yet to see Jordan Rudess do a demo video of this, but I'm sure it's coming. Because anything keyboard related, Jordan Rudess, you inevitably see him do a demo video of it. Like he did a video last week or week before of a collapsible portable travel keyboard. Not one of those old roll-up ones, but like it was in sections. And he had a full 88-note keyboard out in the bar. And he started playing this ragtime, and his tech would keep taking sections away until he was left with like 3 notes at the end. Very funny. But yes, I get off track. This apparently is an evolution of an idea they had in 2017. And so it uses digital knitting technology to combine electrically conductive and thermoplastic fibers with polyester. So you get a 5-octave knitted piano. Wow. Pressure and
You tell
stretch.
your grandma that you're into music, and then she knits you this.
Yeah. Pressure and stretch sensitive piezo-resistive knit. That's crazy. So it's stretch sensitive. So as you pull on it, it'll notice. Okay.
Oh, cool. I guess.
So, yeah, more than a contact interaction, it can include gestures of moving hands and fingers in order to create expressive data.
Just having another look while I'm doing this. One interesting thing about Windows 11 is they've basically integrated power tools into it, or power toys, sorry. You can now split your screen into different sections with power
Right.
toys.
Okay. Cool,
That'll
I
save me
guess.
one program.
Yeah. It sounds to me like they have just rolled things in. Like someone was saying, you can now run Android apps in Windows. It's like, yeah, I've been able to do that for a decade, but just had to download a third-party app.
And it uses that's that blue something, isn't it? Yeah, it uses a
BlueStacks.
lot of resources. Yeah, it uses a lot of resources, I find, for
Well,
what it does.
it's emulation.
Yeah.
It's emulating entirely different processor language. That is resource intensive.
Well, it'll be interesting if they've now made it so it's native. Maybe it'll be a lot less resource intensive.
Maybe, but at the same time, if it's still emulating stuff that runs on ARM, it still has to do that. Unless it's Windows run on ARM, which is also a possibility in the future. I mean, that's something that they kind of have been picking away at. Windows on ARM has been on and off kind of a side project for them for several years. I would imagine that will heat up now as the M1 Macs dominate. Because they will. Marty says, can I run it in the washing machine? I mean, if it's wireless, you'll definitely get a heck of a performance out of it. Dong, 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 dong. Yeah, Marty says Power Toys has been around since Windows 95-ish. Well, something under the name of Power Toys has been out since then, but of course that's constantly changed and evolved.
Yeah, but obviously, it's something you've got to download separately. That's my point.
Yeah.
Third party.
I thought Power Toys was a Microsoft thing.
Is it? I think so.
There have been plenty of things that do stuff like Power Toys that have been third-party programs.
It's a Microsoft thing. I did not realize it was a Microsoft thing.
There are loads of things like Power Toys that are, I'm trying to think. There was Power, like, something window. There's been loads of different...
Hopefully they'll just integrate everything that's in the current version into it. Because, like, the two things that I use it for, like, literally on a daily basis are the fancy zones for snapping windows into different areas, because I've got 5 monitors, and the color picker. Like, why is there not a color picker?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that seems fairly like, well, we have a team that makes this. Why is it not just in there?
Yeah, because I literally use that color picker every day.
What color are you? You're blue. Andre says, can I use this as a cushion and play back what I played overnight? I mean, it's MIDI, so yeah, why not?
You can definitely work till you drop, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, talking of electrically active surfaces and skin contact, I had a rather embarrassing derp moment today, which I'll regale the chat with. I was down the back of the console today because I was plugging in a couple of channels on one of my new... I've got another RME ADI converter, so I was plugging a couple of channels in, and I couldn't quite reach, so I leant in, and I got... And what had happened is my moustache had touched the RGB LED strip, and I'd got a resistive shock off the resistors through my moustache. That was not fun.
Oops.
So it was 12 volts, and it was just enough because the resistance to just enough to go but in a very sensitive spot, but not being expected, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, I laughed straight away. It was just like, you idiot, because it's such a low voltage because it's capacitance over them. Even when the strip is off, the control signal's being sent. If I touch it with my fingers, it doesn't hurt, but a few lights around that light up. You ever done that with LEDs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do that with your moustache. It's like, just unpleasantness. So yeah, that was today's daily derp. I was doing that as I was setting up to capture more cabs for Two Notes. Cabs for us. One that I've called the Deaky Speaky, which is kind of a take on Queen Brian May's Deaky speaker, which is this little custom thing that he's got. And I just love the name. I called it the Deaky Speaky. And the other one is I've put a couple of G12H anniversaries into the Zilla Big Beast. So, because they're greenbacks, I called it the Big Green Beast. So now I'm going to have to make the picture more green. I'll make it look different from the original. Yeah, so they're coming. And then I've got another pair of G12Hs which are going in the oversized Marshall cab. So that's going to be an X pattern of vintage 30s and G12Hs. Oh, yes. That would be very nice. So they're all coming very soon. Hopefully I've got a new Zilla bass cab that should be on the way very soon as well. That's now been processed by Two Notes, so that's not far from release. And hopefully the 420 Blaze Tone will finally come out, because they've now got a new website. So their team, I've been kind of nudging them like, help, this isn't working. And they're like, we're doing the new website, we're busy. And now I can turn around and go, you've done it now, do my thing. So, yes. I should have 5 new cabs coming out on the Two Notes store at some point in the next month or two. Need to finish capturing them, uploading them, getting sorted, and out into the world. But yeah, that was a thing I was doing today, as well as finishing a video, because we never talked about this at the start of the stream, on this guitar, which you'll have seen this guitar on the channel a few times, but the pickups are now different. These are Fishmans. These are the Fishman Modern Humbuckers, and I really like these, but slightly more I like the Fishman Devon Townsends, so I'll be switching them back. And if Chris appears in chat at any point, I've been talking to Chris, he wants these pickups, so Chris shall have these pickups. And yes, they sounded phenomenal. They made the EMGs sound like just yesterday's news. So, now I've done that, let's talk about the actual news. The news, Mark II. So, this was going to be the alternative headline this week, which was that Ernie Ball, Music Man, and Stingray and Darkglass, I apologise, have now made the Dark Ray. Which sounds kind of cool, but I don't know if I want it. Which is weird, and I'll explain. So, Darkglass makes some very fine bass preamps. They make the B7K and the Alpha Omega, amongst others. And they also make this preamp for bass called the Tone Capsule, of which I have one in one of my basses, and it's really nice. It's super crystal clear. And I've always kind of liked Ernie Ball Stingrays, but I've always been of two minds as to get one, because whenever I've had one, they have a certain sound that isn't really my thing, which is fine. It sounds great. Anyway, the two have now collaborated, and they now made a bass that lights up. And
it lights up?
Yeah, it lights up. So it's got a three-way switch on here, so you can get different sounds out of this pickup, which is a nice touch. Because it does only have the one kind of humbucker pickup, but you can make it sound like a single coil with a switch. And the thing about it lighting up is it's got 2 distortion modes in the bass, which you can blend with the clean sound, which very much sounds like my kind of thing. And they're on kind of a clicky switch, so you can be playing super clean and then add the distortion in. And there's kind of a distortion like the B7K, and then there's a fuzz like the Alpha Omega, which is awesome. And so there's all the whole EQ and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all inbuilt, all very nice.
That's all pretty cool.
Yeah, not going to be cheap. I don't know where the price is, but this is going to be... Oh, so these are both from the Alpha Omega preamp. So you've got distortion and fuzz both on there. And so, yeah, there's one in black and the granite stone. So the silvery version is limited to only 100 pieces. At the time of writing, only 88 were available, and only available in the US, which is... Ugh. you know. Ugh. But yeah, like I say, I don't know if I'd want this because I like to turn on effects with my feet for a start. I don't like to take my hands away from what I'm doing. It can be quite distracting. And yeah, so come on, brain. Also, I like to have different things before and after the distortion and that kind of thing, and this takes that choice away from you. That's the other thing. I mean, this is for a certain section of people, and I have no doubt that these will be snapped up in no time at all. Because for the people who want them, they really want these. Darkglass have a frothing at the mouth kind of fan base, and Ernie Ball and Music Man are a solid brand. Now, if they did something like this, but with the 6-string John Mayung signature, I would just sell a kidney and the child. But that is not going to happen.
Which was it again? Which was it again?
It doesn't say. But I'm going to take just a guess at about $3,000, $4,000 in that price range, because that's a little bit above the usual Stingray US-made price range, because these are all US-made instruments, which means that the price is going to be up there somewhere.
Say it's value for money?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this is one of those things that to most people won't be value for money, but for the certain people who have been waiting for this forever, this will be priceless to those people. So, yeah. From my perspective, I don't think I'd buy it, even if it was only $1,000, because of the ergonomics behind it. But the idea is really cool. I mean, I've seen like Matt Bellamy from Muse has got a fuzz in his guitar, and that's really cool. But for someone who runs around on arena stages, that makes a lot of sense. For anybody else, I don't know if it does. But there you go. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Now, moving on. This news article is something that we talked about at length last week before it was a news article, but I just wanted to touch on this again because there's been an update. Now, this is the whole Origin Effect versus Revival Electric that we talked about last week. How Origin Effect have been denied the trademark for the Revival drive, but the company Revival Electric put up a big snotty post, and I said at the time that I thought there'd be more to it, and we were waiting on the reply from Origin. And now we have it. So, Origin have responded in kind with a several-page Instagram post. And rather than white on black, they've done it black on white. So this is very much a fight fire with fire response. And this is pretty much everything that I had presumed. So the first thing it says is, big fish, little fish. It looks like a big company taking on a little guy. Said there are 11 of them, Origin Effect. It's not a big company. They don't have a team of lawyers. The trademark application in the US was rejected, and they tried to find a coexistence agreement. Apparently, they tried to get in contact with Revival Electric, couldn't get hold of them, and apparently their website appeared to be dormant, which gives you the assumption that the company is no longer active. If a company is no longer active, then they have no reason to hold on to a trademark. So they've gone ahead and done the thing, and now Revival Electric have now, again, according to Origin Effects, now come out of the woodwork and started complaining and making posts. So, yes. And the other thing is, here's what they said. With the threat of legal action against us, we had no choice but to continue with the US trademark dispute system for a resolution. There is no lawsuit against Revival Electric. And it further says, these facts have been omitted from Revival Electric's portrayal of events. Yes, well, I'm not sure if I want to side either way, but this seems quite clear and down the line.
Yeah.
That yeah, you shouldn't really just go one side or another on an argument like this, but it does seem a lot like at this point, this guy with everything that has now come out has just been complaining and moaning and digging his heels in, and these guys have been made to look bad and have now just come out and said, look, it's not like that. So how it all shakes out, we'll see, but hopefully this is kind of the end of the nastiness, and someone will succeed here, and they'll have their day in court, and it will all happen. It's fine.
There's just so much of this sort of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah. The bit that kind of annoys me the most with these kind of things is when another company comes up and says, oh, we're under pressure from this company, and it's like, well, you usually when a big company does something like this, they have to offer to buy it from you because there's no other legal way to do it, and you could just say, I want lots of money, and they go, okay, here's your money. So, there are options, there are ways of sorting this, and there's usually far more gentlemanly ways of doing it than a big long Instagram post.
It's true.
Yeah. So fair play to Origin for firing back in kind, but by the looks of things, it doesn't look like they've made any accusations in their post. They've just stated straight facts, as far as I can see. If there's something I've missed, fine, but the tone is quite different. So yeah, moving on. This Spanish company, Ibanez, have added 5 new models to their Iron Label series. Nothing but metal. And when I say Ibanez, I mean Ibanez. Ibanez, or is it Ibanez? Depends where you're from, I guess. But yes, the Iron Label is back, and this is aimed squarely at metal. And so, yeah, 2 new basses, 3 new guitars, and I've seen a few people, YouTube people that I know, who've gone, oh my god, a Zyphos, gimme. Because Ibanez stopped making the Zyphos, which is this X shape, a good while back, and they've been impossible to find. And so, yeah, if you've been eyeballing these, there they are. And also the Iron Man 7-string is now a thing that you can buy and not just have to pay stupid money for the custom shops. So yeah, the 6-string Iceman's the classic kind of Paul Stanley Kiss kind of thing. But recently, guys like Wes Hauck have been seen playing Iceman's 6 and 7 strings. But yeah, the 6 and 7 string Zyphos, you're going to see some serious metal bands playing these, I'm sure. And of course, there are these 2 basses as well. And I'm really quite interested in this one. Excuse me, my whiskey is getting to me. This one is a 5-string, 5-string Iron Label with fan frets. And the whole fan fret thing means that the bottom B string can be super long and so it can be super deep, but the top strings are not so tight that they're like cheese wire. Which it's nice. I mean, I've been playing for long enough that I can put up with kind of cheese wire strings if I have to, but to have a little bit more comfort there is quite a nice thing. Let's have a look at this setup. So they're decent. So the prices don't look unreasonable either. The Iceman is €1,300. The Zyphos are €1,300 and €1,400 for the 6 and 7 string respectively. And the basses, the not fancy one is €900 and the fancy one is $999. It's just German for no.
I know, right?
You would think that they'd choose a Spanish name with being a Ibanez, you know. But yes, the SRM, and then there's the BTB, which is more pointy. And of course, metal guys need it to be more pointy, so there is that. But if you're a prog bass player, then you need it to be fan fret, because fan fret is in. And yeah, you want to hang with the cool kids. But yeah, not unreasonable prices, not cheap at all. I certainly couldn't afford that when I was starting out. But are those Ibanez?
Yeah, I think they're reasonable enough price.
Those
Very cool.
Yeah. Those Ibanez bass pickups, CMG or Bartolini size, usually they're not. I don't know. They look like a fairly standard size. They look like EMG 45 kind of size. That's a guess on my part, but I can't see why they wouldn't make them a fairly standard size. I mean, it's no extra effort for them if they're getting them done on a production run to make them a fairly standard soap bar size. Everybody loves soap bar. So yeah, metal. So a couple of weeks ago I was saying that Dan from Ibanez, who's on Andy Ferris, the Guitar Geeks podcast every week, he was talking about pink guitars, and they said, yeah, you make pink ones for the likes, you make black ones for the sales. So I'm going to imagine that these are going to sell pretty quick, especially the Xiphos, because black and pointy, yeah, it goes. Because there's a lot of 15-year-old metalheads out there, and a lot of 40-year-olds who've got a 15-year-old metalhead in their head. So there you go. Now, to something a little more techie. The Roland Go Mixer Pro X. I do hate it when they put hyphens and colons and stuff in the name. The Roland Go Mixer Pro X. The audio mixer for smartphones gets an update. So this has a couple of new input and output features. Looks kind of useful if I'm out and about. I could use one of these to record stuff properly on my phone. Which, you know, it actually doesn't matter if you're using a phone or an iPad or a laptop or a big computer or what. None of them actually affect the quality of the sound, believe it or not. Because all they are really is a vessel to store the digital ones and zeros. It's the actual interface itself, the preamp quality, the microphone quality, the capture, the room, the performer, all that. That all does affect, you know, this quality of the overall sound. But once it's been turned into digital ones and zeros, I could actually record, you know, the best musicians in the world on one of these onto a phone. And as long as the preamps are good, we're good. So I'm not sure what colour this was before, but now it's black. And of course, audio engineers like gear that is black. I mean, that sounds a bit weird, but it's true. Audio engineers do like stuff to be of dark colour so it doesn't stick out in the middle of a tech setup. You generally do want to be a little bit discreet, especially in field recording. You probably want to be kind of visually unobtrusive as much as possible. And black doesn't tarnish nearly as badly as a lot of other colours. It's always a good thing. So, yeah. Previous generation's input for a plug-in power microphone has been removed in favour of a new smartphone I/O connector, which allows you to connect a phone over an analog TRRS cable, you know, one of the 4-pole cables that you plug in. I'm guessing that means that you can have a second phone for recording calls for like a podcast.
Okay.
So you could have a guest on the show actually on a physical phone call on a second phone, and that would record in on a separate channel, which is a nice feature. And then, of course, it's got a microphone input there, instrument inputs, guitar and bass, switchable phantom power, which is going to absolutely batter the battery in this, but it's a nice option there. Let's have a look. So it's now got 11 total input channels. That's quite a lot. You can connect a headset mic. That functionality has been integrated into the headphone output, so that's clever. So if you plug a headset into the headphone input, it records a separate headset mic. Clever. They've started to think about this stuff here. So there's no center cancel function anymore, but there's now a pad for guitar and bass, which is useful if you've got really hot pickups like I have now on these Fishmans, they scream, and if they're making everything distort, that will make it not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it connects to Android and iOS devices via the USB Micro B, which is a shame, but adapter cables for Lightning and USB-C are included.
What's Micro B?
Micro B is the kind of short, flat one that all your like vape chargers plug into.
Oh, so there's no micro USB cable.
Yeah. Micro B, yeah. So B is usually the device end, A is usually the computer end. So yeah, micro USB is the shorthand for Micro B. That's its Sunday name, its proper name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why everybody gets confused by USB-C, because it used to be that A plugs into the computer and B plugs into the thing.
Yeah.
What does C do? Does all the things.
I don't think I've ever seen a micro USB A connector. Can you show me a micro USB A?
They definitely exist, but they're horrible.
A is the square one, isn't it, usually?
No, the square one's USB-B, but not micro. USB-A is the kind of the rectangle that goes in your computer. That's USB-A.
Oh, right. So the B is the old one that's in the back of all the printers.
Yeah. Yeah, classic B is the one that was on the printers. Mini B was the one that you get on like PS3 controllers. And then micro B is the kind of the flat one that breaks every 5 seconds. But yeah, there are mini and micro USB-A connectors. Nobody uses them because why? Because they're god awful. Yeah, they actually do physically exist, but pretty much everybody has gone. Yeah, they look like this. If we can just zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. It's just being awful with me, but yeah, that's micro USB-A.
You kind of feel like it's the sort of thing that Apple would have put into their laptops, given that they hate putting USB-A ports into their laptops.
Yeah, but it's Apple and they like to be awkward. The USB Standards Committee go, here's an answer to your problem.
But
and
that's the
everybody
weird
goes,
thing
nope,
now. So
nope,
now
nope.
with USB-C, so USB-C is meant to be a cable where it's the same both ends.
Yes.
Even though
Or
there
at
are
least-
USB A to A cables as well.
Yeah, there are A to A cables, there are A to C cables, there are probably B to B. There are B2B cables, I've had them. They are the scourge of the earth. They should all be burned.
MIDI to MIDI.
Yeah,
devices.
exactly like that. Yeah, something like this. This Go Mixer Pro, but much older iterations would have had USB B to USB B or micro mini. Ugh. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants that. Okay, so it can be USB bus powered, but you can also put 4 AA batteries in this. So it's a little bit bigger than I thought if they're AA batteries.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a chunky thing.
They look AAA, don't they, from here?
Yeah, so this must be a significant bit bigger than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But 149 euros, that's not entirely unreasonable.
Oh. Be worse.
Sean says, which USB-C? There's only one USB-C. There are lots of things that can travel over that connection.
There's more than one USB-C port.
Yes. Yeah. So Thunderbolt...
Which is maybe what they're meaning.
Maybe. Thunderbolt works...
You've got the USB-C PD? Is it?
What, for power?
Yeah.
That's USB. Yeah, so USB-C PD, but that's still a USB-C connection. That's just something that's supported over that USB-C connection.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still a normal USB-C cable that you use as well, isn't it?
Yep. Well, yes. Although ones that are suited to power delivery are better for that. It's like there are Thunderbolt can go over USB-C, but there's still only one type of USB-C cable. Yeah,
I know. I just feel like people really should have got together a few years ago, and they just started making it really complicated. So you've got like mini DisplayPort and Thunderbolt, and now you've got USB-C and Thunderbolt. Then you got USB-C and the PD, and it's like all these cables look the same, and some of them are.
Oh yeah, well that bit does get complicated with cable types, but that's the companies being cheap. Because you can actually get a one USB-C cable to rule them all that'll do everything, but they're not cheap, and people want cheap. So companies go, well, we'll strip out the bits you don't need. This just does power and a bit of data. Here, I've got one that I'm holding. This one here, that's USB-C, but it's dead thin, and it can do just enough power for one device, and it can do USB 2.0, and that's it. But it came with the Audion ID 14 Mark II, which is standard USB power and USB 2.0, and a little bit more. Yeah, it takes just an amp of power, 1.5 amps max, I think it is. But it doesn't have USB 3 transfer speeds because there's no point with audio. That's a topic for another day. So yeah, that's the thing. But I like that this can be battery powered, because things like iPads and iPhones don't usually provide enough power to run these kinds of things. And even when they do, their battery life thing goes down really quick because it's trying to power this as well as itself. So yeah, there you go. Moving on, something from PRS that is not a guitar. PRS have released the HX amplifiers. This is a new thing. Marty says with the roll and go, if you lose the battery cover, you're knackered. Yes, you could say that for a lot of electronics, though. I mean, it would be nice if that was captive, but yeah. I mean, you could always use a couple of metal strips and some duct tape. Don't, but you can. So yeah, going back to this, the PRS HX with an authentic Hendrix Woodstock tone, which, if I remember rightly, means it's a Marshall. Because Hendrix just used Marshalls for years. And I'm pretty sure that's what he used at Woodstock, was just a 100-watt Plexi Marshall. Yeah, you can see here treble volume and bass volume. So that's a Marshall Plexi, because that's how they worked originally. They had 4 inputs, 2 treble and 2 bass, and you could jam into one and put a cable in that connected them all together and just blast them all at once. And that was insanely loud, and that's why Hendrix liked it. And so there you go. Apparently back in 2018, they were allowed to study Jimi Hendrix-owned amp with permission from Paul Allen and the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, Washington. And so, yeah, they made a couple of these, the HXDAs, for the Allman Brothers for Live at the Fillmore. They were able to look at one of the amps used by. Right. So now they've been able to examine one of Hendrix's touring amps and not just understand the circuit, but the mods and the part choices that were made. I mean, for mid-late 60s, I'm going to go ahead and assume that modifying the amps was not about trying to get some sort of boutique tone, but the fact that Hendrix would probably blow things up, and that his tech had to find parts on the road that would make it work. And so by the end of the tour, the amp might be slightly different than when it came out, but if Hendrix liked it, therefore it was fine. But yeah, I mean, now amp modding is such a big thing, and a lot of amp modders are out there, and it's quite normal, and everybody's quite au fait with just, I took this amp and I modded it. Whereas in the late 60s and 70s, it was, why would I do that? Oh yeah, but the amp blew up, so this bit died, so I put a new one in, but not from the originals, because I was in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and this is what I could get. It's like, oh, I like the sound, man. Cool. I'm glad you do. Yeah. There was a lot of that, I'm sure, going on in the 60s and 70s. I mean, only in the late 70s did guys actually start modifying amps for reasons like putting more gain stages in or that kind of thing. Yeah. Which I have one of behind me. I have a 78 that's modded, and we don't know what year it was modified in. But that was kind of not really the done thing till at least the late 70s, early 80s when that started happening. So yeah, there's 50 and 100 watt versions of this, and yeah, so they don't say the word Marshall anywhere, but I'm not the world's biggest Jimi Hendrix fan, and I can tell you he was using Marshalls. And yeah, the setup and the layout on these is just a telltale sign. There's a couple of switches. Not quite sure. Let's read in if we can see what the switches do. Right, so there's a bright switch, which will just be a couple of different capacitors to make the sound brighter. And mid-gain. Right, so there's a mid-gain switch as well. Not entirely sure which setting on that would be the default one, but yeah, there we go. So you can tweak it a little bit. Yeah. And as Marty says in chat, replacement parts for these amps became unavailable from the factory pretty quick, so modding was a necessity. I mean, It really wasn't uncommon. I mean, a lot of the classic microphones as well from that era, there are loads of examples where they're not using original parts and not even close to original parts. And it was mostly because those original parts stopped being made. And the thing blew up and they needed it to work and they needed it tomorrow. So they would mod it. Like Neumann U47s, the classic mic, they used a particular valve they stopped making it in about 1952. So if you were lucky and you found one, great. But if you didn't, what do you do? So a lot of repairmen would modify them to use a completely different, more modern, and arguably better kind of valve. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff goes on. So yeah, there you go. You can buy a matching 2x12 or 4x12 cabinet that come with Celestion G12H75 creambacks, which is an interesting choice because I would have said to go with the G12H anniversaries, which are the 30-watt speakers, which are a lot closer to what Hendrix was actually using at that time. And of course, the speaker choice is a big part of the tone. And they don't really cost any different to the creambacks, so I'm slightly surprised with that choice there, but it's not a bad choice. They're all good. But yeah, I'm on a bit of a G12H anniversary kind of kick at the moment, which is why I've just put them into my cabs. I mean, that's partly because I found them in a box in the storeroom, and I was like, oh yeah, I have these. Let's use them. The whole thing behind that is that one of my favourite cabs that we have, the Big Beast, is, I think it was the first or second Zilla cab I ever got. But it's also the oldest by a long way. It was actually fourth or fifth hand when I bought it. And I could not get into the back of it. The screws were just kind of welded in. This amp had been on tour. These screws were not coming out, And eventually this week I gave up and I said, you know what, screw it. I'll see which ones I can get out. Anything that I can't get out, I'll drill. And it turns out I didn't have to drill them. There were only two that wouldn't go in the end. And with enough force, I actually managed to pop the heads off them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because by getting the rest of the back off, I just pushed it. And these screws had locked in, but they were also quite brittle. So the heads just went pop.
Oh, okay.
I should sample that. That was a cool sound. And yeah, so it came off then. And it turns out there were vintage 25th anniversary editions, which I've never seen before. I don't know if there's any actual difference. Maybe just a sticker. But, cool. So, yeah, I then switched two of them out and started making whooping noises today. With the capture thing, not just me going whoop, whoop. Although I could have done that. I didn't have time to do that. I finished doing that and then got in the car, got here, and here I am. Hello. So, yes. Just noticed I'm slightly out of frame. There we go. But yes, back to the PRS. The prices are not cheap. So the 50-watt version is $2,900 US. Ouch. The 100-watt version is $3,150 US. So that's only $250 between them. I'd go for the 100-watt. And the cabinets, oh my word, $900 and $1,200 US. $900 for a 2x12 with $250 worth of speakers in. That's a lot. And yeah, $1,200 is still quite a bit for the bigger cab. That's why I go to Zilla, because they don't overcharge you for just a few pieces of wood and Tolex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll keep plugging Zilla all the time, but it's I don't actually get any money from it. They're just good people who make good stuff at reasonable prices. Anyway, it's time.
That is a good summary.
Yes, time
People
for
that make good stuff.
At good prices. Time for Behringer Corner. Behringer Corner.
Behringer Corner, the Behringer Corners, and almost a Behringer Square.
We were saying before the stream, it's like a Behringer bucket because we've got two corners. So, what's in the Behringer bucket today? Because we've got two Behringer Corner articles. So,
It's the why birds stop.
Yeah. Very niche joke for an international audience. It's kids' TV from when we were kids. $39 wireless noise cancelling earphones. What? How? How on earth? How cheap do these have to be in construction to be $39 for AirPods?
There's a lot of this sort of stuff on Amazon.
Right.
So it's definitely doable. So it depends how they're considered noise cancelling. That's the first thing.
Is it like you stick them in your ears and you can't hear, so they're noise cancelling?
So that's definitely what some of them on Amazon are.
Right.
So me and Ash both use headphones to help drown out the road and the dogs or my snoring at night as kind of like earplugs. And we have wireless ones, but we have the ones with like a strap on so they don't get lost in the bed. And they usually range on Amazon between the cheapest ones are like $14.
Oh, wow.
And the most average branded ones are about $40, about this sort of price.
Okay.
So
I just got kind of a sleep band with some headphones in, similar kind of thing. And
yeah, we've tried those. Ash needs something that goes in her ears more because I snore.
Right. Yeah, that's
always, but sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. Generally, when you're asleep.
Interesting. I mean, so does it say how they're noise cancelling? Is it just? Oh no, it's active
noise cancellation. Yes, with a transparent mode. So there's got to be some sort of microphone pass through here. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the charging case isn't wireless. That'll cut down on cost. It relies on USB connection anyway. Says that's a minor disappointment. I don't think that. I don't like wireless charging things. I think it's hilariously inefficient.
What would be wireless?
The charging case being put on a key charger or something like that.
But the case being put on a wireless? No, screw that.
Exactly. Yeah. But even I'm not a big fan of putting phones on wireless chargers either, just because they get really hot and they don't charge very quick.
Yeah, I've got one here. It's my third one, I think. I've just finally officially given up on them because they just don't. Yeah, they don't charge fast enough.
No, and I'm on an iPhone 10, which is a little old now, but it's new enough that it does USB PD, like we were talking about. So if you've got a PD charger, it charges super quick by actually plugging a thing in. So yeah, you don't need wireless when you can plug things in. But anyway, Al super chat $5 He wants to buy me another round. Well, cheers.
Ooh,
trying
cheers,
to kill
Al.
me. I'll have that drink later because otherwise I'll fall over. But
I'll have
which is hard to do in a
got
seat.
a little swig of coffee.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. But yeah, the question remains how
Oh
good
wait, sorry.
do they sound?
I'll take that back. He's only buying you around. It's all right, Al. You know who's in charge of the Discord permissions, don't you? That's Adam too as well.
Yes. So who listens to the listeners? That's the question. And this should compete with all the cheap AliExpress stuff. So there's that. And finally, on Behringer Corner.
It is interesting. I would definitely be interested in trying them because we basically, headphones for me and Ash are kind of like disposable items at the moment because we go through at least 3 pairs a year.
Right.
So,
Is that because Rogue finds them and goes, "Ooh, tasty, nom 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 nom"?
yeah, a mixture of that, but I think more often it's because we wear them while sleeping. So obviously they get quite a lot of, when you're rolling around on the bed, like in your sleep, they're going to get kind of a bit more wear and tear and sort of pull on them. I guess it's to do with that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, just crap, cheap stuff that I'm buying.
Yeah, there
One of
is.
the things, isn't it, where it's that whole old thing. If you actually bought some expensive ones, they probably would last longer. But with tech, you just don't know. Like sometimes more expensive is better quality, like say fidelity rather than build.
Yeah.
It's hard to know like what's going to be more rugged and durable.
Yeah, I mean,
funny.
depending on what you're using them for, like if you use them in bed where you're going to be rolling around and bashing them around quite a lot, then even the expensive ones might not last long enough to be worth the like order of magnitude price difference.
And then the other thing is that it's the sort of thing you can't really just try them either because like Ash has got quite small ears, so she finds that some of them just aren't comfortable to lie on. So it's like you can't really go into a shop and just try earbuds in and like lie down on a pillow and see whether it's comfy.
Yeah, for many reasons. But yes, those are a thing. You can buy the thing. I think you can buy the thing. Oh, they haven't said when they'll become available, so you can't buy the thing. But hopefully soon you can buy the thing. And so yes, they're now teasing another rhythm machine. With a quote from Stravinsky, they're teasing it. That's a bit highbrow for Behringer. There is music wherever there is rhythm, as there is life wherever there beats a pulse. Yes, that's a little bit, what's the word? A little bit, highbrow for Behringer. So there's been talk of maybe a CR78 or an Oberheim DMX. I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is probably going to be something more like the Oberheim because the old Roland CompuRhythm CR78 didn't really have anything like this on it, whereas the Oberheim might. Marty says, why would you sleep with earbuds? Because then you can listen to things as you drift off and cancel out snoring noise.
Yeah. I've always, some people say it's really bad and stuff, but it's just something I've always done. I've always either listened to music or watched TV before I go to sleep. Like I sleep much better when it's just, also got quite bad tinnitus, so lying in bed without anything in my ears can be quite difficult to sleep. So just having something on quite low helps me get to sleep.
Yeah, I tend to have some sort of YouTube video on when I'm in bed. Just because it's, but not something that I would be a massive fan of. It's usually something that I'm kind of meh about, so that if I do fall asleep and miss a bit.
Yeah, I either listen to music or watch something that I've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was the kid who would read a book until it got dark and then fall asleep with the book on my face.
Yeah, I used to as well.
Yeah, but especially now, having a partner, you can't really do that. Because, the torch annoys them. So there you go. This is a rhythm machine. Don't know what it is. We'll probably find out in the next few weeks. And back to the studio. Behringer Corner. Yes, end of Behringer Corner. And now I'm sat too far down. I need to adjust the camera, but I can't be bothered. So, any questions in the chat for us? While we get those in, I will tell you about our busy week. We're going to do another stream tomorrow night, where I'm going to be mixing more stuff from Banana Ranch. I should also be playing bass on that track. We'll be working all the sounds from that, probably doing some reamping with the lovely equipment. Then on Saturday, surprise, I'm going to release a video. We have an abundance of content, which is great. I want to get a Reaper video out soon. So, next available day is Saturday. So, I think the video that I'm going to be putting out is how I customize Reaper. All the little things that I do that make it mine and make it useful, and I tell you why. Whoa, lots and lots of text.
Ooh.
So Rumi says, will you make a video about details of Fishman pickups, different voicings? Well, yeah, the video's got different voicings in. Figured out that's the reason why my DI signal's clipping. Yeah, so put a pad in. There's a pad on the pickup. That could do it, but also use a DI box with a pad on that. Do that. But yeah, so no, there's no DI examples. We're not going that far with it. There's some clean parts, but yeah. That's the kind of thing where you need to work that out for yourself, because that's a very individual question that you've got there. Is my thing clipping? And if your thing is clipping, you're probably giving 20 dB too much to your interface. You should have your levels going in that maybe peak at -10. If they're not, either your interface doesn't have the good enough setup, honestly, or yeah, you need a DI box in between you and the interface to take that level down and make it something far more friendly. That was the original job of the DI box, was to make signals far more friendly for the equipment they were going into. That was their literal purpose of existence, and in live situations very often still is. Like if someone plugs a bass straight in a live venue and it's way too loud, there's usually a pad on the thing, and that stops it clipping anything. If you've got keyboards that are super loud, same thing. If you've got some sort of weird connector that isn't microphone level, then you stick it into a DI, and live that fixes things. So yes, those are all reasons to look at it, and it's not the fault of the pickups. Modern pickups are hot. They are loud. They just are. So the other thing that's worth looking at is if you're using like the instrument input on your interface, try not doing that. Try using the line input, because these have a kind of a preamp sort of thing already inbuilt, so you don't need to go into an impedance matching system. So that could also be causing you issues. There you go. Precora says, I have a question regarding syncing Reaper with video capture software. Notice me and Glenn capture our audio through Reaper. Are we syncing it up in post or in a program? Depends what I'm doing. If you want to sync stuff up in Reaper, if it's out of sync, then what you do is you just take the thing that is the latest and you push everything else back so that it goes at the same time. It's not just an audio thing, it's also a video thing. It depends on, like, if you're using a capture card, they all have very different amounts of delay. Some of them have from 1 frame, which at 25 frames a second is what we use, that's 40 milliseconds of latency, all the way up to a full second or 2 seconds, which is 2,000 milliseconds of latency. At that point, you have to go into OBS and delay all your audio sources by that amount. And it's just trial and error. You just try it a few times till it's right. Conversely, if your audio has a big delay on it because it's going through Reaper and all those kind of things to get to OBS, and your camera actually comes out first, there is a thing you can use in OBS. It's a filter called render delay that will actually make the camera come out however many frames later. So yeah, there's no extra software to do that. Although, if you record separate sources and they're out of sync, I mean, I use Premiere for video editing, and if things are out of sync, you just nudge them till they're in. So yeah, you can always unlink the video and audio, shuffle them around, and then re-link them. That's how I do it if I've been sent files. Like if me and Glenn are doing a video together that's not live, and that is going out later, then yeah, I drag everything into Premiere and just shuffle it around. But yeah, if you're getting delay issues, like I'm looking at my own mouth on the screen now, and I think my audio, although I can't actually quite tell, but I think my audio is actually 2 frames ahead of my lips, and 2 frames I can live with. I'm not that much of a perfectionist with because it changes every time, because the what we do differently every different stream. So, yeah, but for that, I would delay the audio by 80 milliseconds, and that would sort that out. And the way to test it would just be to record locally a short clip of video and play it back and watch it and make sure it's right. And if it's not, do it again, do it again, do it again. Eventually, trial and error, you get it right. But yeah, anything live broadcast, if you need to test something, do a little local recording and just watch it back. And just watch it. Is the sound there? Is it in sync? Are there any weird things? Because then you're not having to, put the general public as your test, Yeah, okay. A question from Andre. In Reaper, in the Matrix window, which Matrix window, Andre? There are about 7 of them. I want to patch sometimes pre-fader, pre-effects, and sometimes post everything of the shortcuts instead of going to the preferences page again. Don't know. The way that I would change pre-post effects and that kind of thing is on the I/O window for each track, which you can find in the mixer on a little bar with the little blue, yellow, and green stripes, tiny little button. And you would change your sends that way, because that's not the kind of thing usually that you would change on the fly. That's the kind of thing you tend to just decide and leave there. But I'm pretty sure there are customization options where you can have that as an option anywhere, but the Matrix is not designed for that. The Matrix is designed so that you can see at a glance, red hair, blonde, brunette, tall. No. God, anyone who's seen the Matrix in the last 20 years might get that reference, but I don't even see the Matrix anymore. All I see is, yeah. What's the smallest guitar practice box beside the Boss Wazza headphones that you know? Good question from Marty. And for me, that's the Vox Amplugs. They are, if you just want to practice, if you just want something simple, you grab your headphones, whatever your headphones are, with a standard headphone jack, and the Vox Amplug are these tiny little square things that plug into the jack on your guitar. And there are different models, like clean, crunchy, metal, whatever. And you plug that straight into your headphones and you go. So, yeah, those are small, relatively inexpensive. You can probably find one on eBay super cheap, because loads of people have just got them in a drawer in a basement or given them for Christmas as a present and never used them. But if you just want something where you can hear what you would sound like with distortion on so you can practice, they're all right for that. They're not great, but in a pinch, they'll do. They're really good for annoying people in the back of a car on a long road trip, because you're rocking out and all they can hear is... So yeah, unless we've got any more questions, that is a really good place for us to end the stream on. So thank you everybody for watching. I've been Adam Steele as usual, and Liam has been Liam as usual. We'll be doing a live stream tomorrow, where we mix some good old college rock style stuff. Then we've got a video on Saturday. Then we're back on Monday for a stream. Then we've got a video on Tuesday, and then the podcast Thursday as well. I'll see you next Thursday, if not before.
Andre said the routing matrix.
All right, yes. Yeah, so I was right with the one that I had in mind, but yes. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Hey, everyone. That might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.